Yeah, movie trivia is going to have to be another day, guys, because, well, it's the NFL Championship weekend, AFC, NFC. We're talking some Broncos. We're talking some championship Super Bowl bound teams. We're talking some top 10 coaches. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. I am your host, Keith Brugman. I'm joined by a plethora of my good pals, good buddies. It's my co-host. It's the Mile High Dutchie. I'll start there. How are you doing, sir?
We're doing great. It's gonna be it looks like a good Super Bowl again, even although the Chiefs are in it, and we have to deal with that the singer again, and for
Taylor
too much
Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah, that's the one. And I don't think it's gonna be all about Taylor Swift.
All right, I'm dancing already, guys. Man, I can't wait for a little tea swizzle in the house, little Super Bowl. Maybe you guys aren't all jacked up for that. No, the Chiefs are in there, man. Gritting my teeth to the point I think I broke them. Not really what I wanted, just about anything. I really thought the Ravens had the chance. Having a chance to take the mic right now, I'm going to give it over to Mr. Trevor Salzman, another co-host of the Denver Bronco Roundup. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. I just a lot of great games I think today, and that's like I said, Albert said, it's going to be a great Super Bowl. And again, do we want to be Eminem versus Taylor Swift? Because that's what I'm hoping for. Eminem all the
Eminem
way.
versus Taylor.
I'd rather do with
Eminem.
Eminem than Taylor Swift. Well, I'm a big Eminem fan, so I'm hoping for that. And it took me a while to recognize that, but I don't know why. Because last week Eminem was at the games, and he's at the game again today. I don't know why it took me so long to recognize that, but let's go Eminem for the win.
Throw your choices down. Eminem, Taylor Swift, man. I'll tell you who could maybe make the ruling. It's the judge, Mr. Jody Moncrief. Welcome in, Judge. How we doing, Jody?
What's up? Sick of Kansas City, but it is what it is. We found out Lamar Jackson is not who we thought he was. Doesn't win big games. Not a pocket passer. And I don't think Andy Reid is going to retire. I mean, you're going to ride that pony as long as you can when you have probably a top 5 all-time quarterback.
Yeah, I agree, man. Why would you want to
winning
retire?
is addictive?
It sure is, man. Those Super Bowls with the infrastructure that is in place in Kansas City, it'd be really, really tough to walk away from. You're not up against anything necessarily, man. So didn't build it like the Rams did. A lot of people thought McVay might be walking away, man. So didn't end up happening, but nonetheless, a lot of people thought maybe he burnt his chances with F them picks. So I want to get in there and say hello to our posse, the chat, Michelle Knoppers. Michelle, yes, a good way from the hubby. And a good evening to you, saying, evening, gents. Michelle, I appreciate you coming in here time after time after time. I know that your hubby's out here. He's on the podcast, but the support is amazing, and I appreciate you a ton. Aloha to Mr. Patrick Wiltsey, who's coming in here and saying, aloha, boys. Is there any chance VJ is given the opportunity to pursue other options? We'll hit that really quick before we get into our agenda. But first off, I want to say not only aloha to Mr. Patrick Wiltsey, but a happy birthday as well, man. So hope you enjoyed your day, man. It was nice seeing that you got to celebrate just as of recently. So hope you took care of yourself. So I'll go around the horn really quick. I'll start with the judge first. Judge, what do you think? Is VJ given an opportunity to pursue other options?
Maybe, but I think he'll be back next year. There's no really true DC out there on the market just sitting. I think Vrabel, I think a couple of these other coaches, Bill Belichick, those are coaches that are going to sit out a year and wait for another head coaching gig.
Fair enough, man. We'll be talking lots of head coaches. Quick answer from you, Mr. Salzman. What do you think about VJ and his options to go someplace else?
Yeah, I agree with Jody. I don't think they're going to move up from bench. So you have to have some sort of consistency on the staff, and that comes from the defense side of the ball too. So no, on VJ, I think he stays. Short leash, but stays. I'll say that.
All right, man. And then Mr. Albert Knoppers, your thoughts on this?
Well, it just looks like that VGA is staying because he already is contracting players that he had, new players that he had previously worked with. So that is more like a sign to me that he will stay.
Gotcha. Good little education there. Yeah, we've been doing some signing of some players. Again, these are possibly only your practice squad type of players that we've been talking about, but that free agency is kind of opened up to that point. And hey, if it's VJ players that are coming in the door, that might signal something as well. Also, what might signal something is a fantastic comeback. We've been talking, we're going to jump into the AFC and the NFC Championship games. Guys, as of right now, I show the 49ers up in the game, 27-24. It looks like about 10 minutes left in the game as of right now. I thought the Lions had it in hand, man. So let's go talk about this game just really quick, man. I know Albert, 49ers, are they going to pull off the upset? Are the Lions going to be able to be that Cinderella team? We got about 10 minutes to figure it out in a 24-27 game with the 49ers leading right now. What are your thoughts, buddy?
My thoughts are the Niners are probably going to pull it off, but I really hope that the Lions are going to do it. I think they deserve to be in the Super Bowl. The Niners have been there recently, and the Lions, yeah, they haven't been there for quite some time. So I think I hope the Lions are going to pull one off.
Pearl's coming in. She also said hello. I skipped over that. I apologize, Pearl, but thank you so much. But Pearl's coming in here and also saying, I'm rooting for the 49ers. So, Trevor, I don't know who you're rooting for, but what are your thoughts on this game that's going on as we speak? I know you got an eye on out of the corner of your eye there, trying to take it all in, be here at the same time. So what are you thinking, buddy?
Yeah, I just think I can turn the ball over. I mean, the Gibbs fumble right there, that you turn the ball over right there. You can't do that against San Francisco. They're going to come around and score right there. You're giving them a chance to stick around in the game. But you can't do that in the postseason. Turnovers are huge. Can't turn the ball over. And I think that's what's going on here with Detroit. And now you're starting to see the 49ers. They're at home now, so they're going to have confidence going forward. Before first half, I mean, 49ers didn't get anything going. You took the home crowd completely out of it. Now they're back in it. Now you just give them a chance. So you hurting yourself once again. I like just another game we saw earlier today.
Oh, very good. Nice little dig into the next little topic that we'll get into in the next game as well. Graham's coming over in here before I get over to Jody, saying good evening, everyone, and doing the right thing. He's over on YouTube doing hashtag winner. Already got him down. Check mark right over my board over here. Make an extra check mark. Graham's entered to win our giveaway. Make sure you're over on YouTube. Make sure you type in winner, WINNER. That's how you get entered to win, guys. Jody, what were your thoughts so far on this game, this Lions 49ers game? Lions were looking really, really pretty, especially at halftime, man. But the 49ers have come roaring back. Again, 9 minutes left in the game. 49ers up 27-24. What are your thoughts on this, buddy?
Turnovers is what changed this game. That Jahmyr Gibbs fumble really killed them. That was basically back-to-back points right there. But if the Lions can keep running the ball in big chunks like they've been all game, and their wide receivers stop dropping passes, I think they still have a good chance.
I'm going to go quickly around the horn then really quick for the purpose of going on to this next game, guys. We already know who they're going to be playing in the Kansas City Chiefs. Who is going to be the best opponent to go up against these Kansas City Chiefs? Would it be the Lions? Would it be the 49ers? I'll start back around with you, Jody. What are your thoughts? Lions, 49ers, better opponent to go up against the Chiefs?
I'd like to see San Francisco. I'd like to see a team that commits, and I say that, but the Lions have this game, but a team that really focuses on the run. Kansas City has some good lockdown corners, and the Lions like to throw the ball. I don't trust Purdy as much, so I would leave it in the hands of McCaffrey and see where that takes you.
Fair enough. Quickly over to Trevor. Your thoughts? Lions, 49ers, better opponent to go up against the Chiefs?
Yeah, 49ers, in my opinion, just again for the known fact that I think the 49ers defense can stop the Chiefs offense. You don't have a Nick Bosa on the other side of the ball with Detroit. I mean, yeah, you have Hutchinson, but he's not. He's been a non-factor in this game, in my opinion. So you have a guy like Nick Bosa and get after Mahomes. When it shows, we've seen it in this game a little bit earlier, Baltimore and Kansas City, when they got after Mahomes, then just let him sit back in the pocket and all day long. He was under pressure. We've seen it here in Denver. That's the formula against Mahomes. You got to blitz him. You can't just sit back in zone and let him pass the ball all day long. He did a great job avoiding it, but you have to. It's consistent pressure that you have to put on Mahomes. I think San Francisco is better. Will be better fit for that one.
All right. Not last but not least, Mr. Albert Knoppers, what are your thoughts on this Lions 49ers? Who is the better opponent to maybe take down the Chiefs and knock them out? Don't let them get that Super Bowl. How's it going to happen? What's the better team here, bud?
I think the better team would be the Niners, indeed. They have a really good run game. They have a pretty stout defense. And, yeah, they can get to the passer quickly. But, yeah, it is done. Here we have it again. Is Purdy a good enough quarterback to handle the stress and the pressure of a Super Bowl game? That is then a different question. And I think Goff might be a little bit better for that.
There you go. And maybe that maturity, that been there, been there, done that, Purdy's pretty new, to the league. So trying to get your feet underneath you, make that run to the
major advantage for Kansas City if they get San Francisco at the quarterback position.
Quite possibly could be. Quite possibly. Like you said, might have to lean on Christian McCaffrey. Graham saying I'm rooting for Detroit, but would be excited for CMC, Mr. Christian McCaffrey. Albert, I'll start back with you, bud. That Ravens-Chiefs game, I'll be honest, unfortunately, your host here has to put in a little bit of work on Sunday. Didn't get to see a whole lot of it. So I'm going to rely on you. What did you think, you three? So what did you think of the Kansas City Chiefs-Ravens game? We'll get some thoughts in here as well.
I don't think that the Chiefs won. The Ravens lost. The Ravens lost it. Too many errors on the Ravens side. Not sticking to their regular game. I think that was the big problem. And, yeah, I don't think the Chiefs really won. And too many errors, like I said, on the Ravens side. And that's the biggest thing that I got from this game.
Very good. I have a feeling that you and Michelle might have been sitting together on the couch watching this game. She thinks the same things as I think the Ravens beat themselves as well. So I want to say a good hello to my good friend, Mr. Jeremy Dressler, coming in here, being part of the show, saying, "Sup, fellas, go Broncos." As Albert reminded me, I think before we got on here, hey, the main thing is we all want the Broncos to win. That's the big thing. So head over to Trevor, man. What did you think of the Ravens-Chiefs game, the game I didn't get to see a whole lot of?
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree. I mean, the Ravens beat themselves in this game, in my opinion. Now, give the Chiefs credit. They won this game fair and square. I mean, I don't think the NFL's rigged. I think the Baltimore just beat themselves yet again. And so give credit where it is to Mahomes and Chiefs. I mean, they're the next era of the Patriots, where Brady and Belichick are. That's what Reed and Mahomes are right now. They're just dominating. 8 penalties today for Baltimore for 95 yards. I mean, they cannot have that in this game and try to win. Plus, Lamar Jackson. I mean, we can give him all the crap we want, but other than Flowers, who's his other target? I mean, Andrews didn't show up today. None of the rest of those targets that he had didn't show up today. So he had one guy that could get open today with Flowers, and he had an offensive line that couldn't protect him for anything today, and a team that just penalties all the time. Penalties. Every time they would get something going downfield and they get momentum in their way, it'd be a penalty. They would do something unsportsmanlike conduct, something that just rock all the momentum. They just got right back down again. So it's just they hurt themselves in this game, absolutely. And they had the home field advantage. They had everything going for them, and they just threw it all away. And again, Chiefs took advantage of it. So give them credit; they deserve this.
Before I get to Jody's thoughts on this game, I want to get to the posse. The comment board, man. You guys are blowing it up. Appreciate you guys a ton. Ernie Mays coming in here and saying, hello, all 4 Broncos country only. Hello to you, Mr. Ernie Mays. Appreciate you coming in here. Fantastic support. Always one of our first likers on all of our advertisements, everything, Ernie. I appreciate you a ton. So Thanks for coming in here, being a part of the show. Also coming in here, Mr. Michael Ronquillo, the Ronk, the legend himself. Good evening, Keith, Jody, Albert, Trevor, big orange and blue hearts. Thank you very much for coming in here, Albert. Albert, got Albert on my mind. Michael, thanks for coming in here, Michael, and being a part of the show, man. Always appreciate you, man. Also giving us the update that the 49ers are winning currently. Yes, 24-27 is the last update I have with about 7 minutes left in the game, guys. 49ers are up. So we're going to continue to update you as the show goes on that. But I want to get Jody's thoughts. And maybe I'll hit this really quick because I was thinking about it when this first popped up. Graham comes in and says, Lamar Jackson is overrated. I said what I said. Jody, what was your thoughts on this game? And maybe answer back to Graham. Is he right or is he wrong?
Well, I second what Graham says. Lamar makes electric plays or a few electric plays a game, but what does he do? He doesn't win big games. He doesn't stand in the pocket and make consistent throws. For everything that we knock Russ, he does the same thing, except he makes a few explosive runs. And he doesn't win. He doesn't win big games. But that being said, they shot themselves in the foot with personal foul penalties, that fumble down there at the goal line that was a touchback, driving down to score again, and he throws, I don't even know where he was throwing to into double coverage, threw it for that touchback. They just made too many bad plays. Kansas City didn't really do anything. I mean, they only gave up 17 points. The D played more than well enough to win this game for the Ravens, and the offense did little to nothing.
It's good point.
OBJ didn't do anything till the last few drives. So yeah, I as a Broncos fan, I can't see why people are. Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL, and Russ sucks. When what does he do that's so much better? Then he runs. Cool.
Very good.
I mean, really, no one.
I agree with you, bud.
Passer, so what does he do that's so much better?
I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to agree. We'll go ahead and we'll leave the Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson debate for another day. But yeah, I think that, from what I did see, I was kind of like Pearl here, who saw the second half of the game. It was sloppy by Baltimore. There were bad penalties by Baltimore. It didn't look good. I didn't see the first half, but I'll agree with you. Baltimore's defense did everything needed to take away a win. All those mistakes, all those turnovers, everything else, you give up 17 points to the Chiefs. You had every opportunity to be in that game and take away a win. So, gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move along. And hey, I'm going to get to this. Michael Ronquillo comes in and says, until someone beats the Chiefs in the NFL playoffs, they will be there every year. Speaking of the Super Bowl, until someone beats them in the playoffs, it seems like every time they get in, they got that chance to run all the way there. So that being said, man, I think one of the main things you need is a head coach. That being said, guys, we got a top 10 head coaches list for you guys that we've prepared. We haven't talked. We don't know what's on anybody's list. We're going to start off from number 10 and go ahead and move all the way up to number 1. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off here in just like 2 seconds. So I just want to bring this up real quick. Graham's coming in and says, I think I sense Trevor disagreeing with my Lamar Jackson take. Again, the way it's going to be, man. We're going to go ahead and we'll get into that all down the line. We'll have a good debate.
Touchdowns,
by the way,
Francisco.
Yeah. 34-24 San Francisco, 3 minutes left.
Oh, man. 34-24, right? So, yep.
Yeah, I'm not looking good for Detroit.
Just about.
3 minutes left.
As soon as they kick the extra point.
Yeah. So 33-24 extra point oncoming. I did just get the update on my phone. So thanks for keeping us up to date. Sounds like that might be wrapping up. That's a lot of points to score in 3 minutes. Been pulling for the Lions. Kind of felt like the 49ers were going to win. My buddy Jeremy Dresser saying Niners are going to win. Graham's not happy at all. I don't know. Maybe he wants some wits and wagering. Maybe he had a little bit of dough on something, but he's not happy, saying no. Gentlemen, let's kick this off, man. I hope you did all the research that I did, man, because I was in it. I was in it deep. Man, this was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. The top was pretty easy in my top 10 list. My bottom was kind of easy, but man, those mid guys, man, just tore me up. I had them moving all over, up and down and around. So I don't know how your guys' experiences was, but let's kick it off, man. Start off with Mr. Jody Moncrief, the judge himself. We'll get the top 10 list out, man. And Jody, who do you have at number 10 on your list in coaches that are currently coaching in the NFL?
Kevin Stefanski.
Mm.
Hasn't had stable quarterback play since he's been there. Had 4 quarterbacks this year, 4 different quarterbacks start this year. Was able to take that team to the playoffs. I think he does an incredible job there. Young up and coming coach. And I think Cleveland, if they can figure out their quarterback situation, I don't know if they're going to be in the same situation as Denver with Watson pretty soon, where what has he done? What has he shown? They spent a lot of money and it's all guaranteed money. If they can figure that position out, they should get Nick Chubb back next year. I mean, he's an elite running back. They have a top O-line, one of the top 5 defense. He's put together a good team, and I look for Cleveland to be around for a while.
That's a fair assessment, man. Me personally, I had him on that outside looking in. I had 3 names that I had really close to making that number 10 slot. Stefanski was one of them. Trevor, what were your thoughts at number 10? Did you have the same guy, somebody different? Or does anybody else also have Stefanski at 10?
Yeah, I have Stefanski at 10 as well.
Wow.
Yeah, like Jody said, this year 11-6 without a starting quarterback, and probably one of the worst starting quarterback situations he's in right now. I think that's worse than I think Denver. You're stuck. You're stuck literally with Watson. There's no, unless they draft a quarterback and they develop him. It's the only way they're going to get better quarterback play. They can't just go out there and free agency or go trade for one right now. They put all their eggs in one basket with Watson. So Stefanski for everything he's got to go through, he's definitely my top 10. I'll have him at 10.
Very good, man. 2 guys already agreeing at number 10, man. Maybe we should have compared our list. It'd be really wild if we go all the way 10 to 1, all the same. I doubt that's going to happen. Albert, did you have Stefanski in your list? You don't have to tell me where you did, if you did. And if not, who do you have at number 10?
I do have Stefanski on my list. But at number 10, I have Matt LaFleur. But what he did with Jordan Love and what the team, it didn't look like it was going anywhere, and still they made the playoffs. So yeah, I think, and what the Packers are doing and the tradition that they have, keep doing it, and Matt LaFleur is following through with it. Yeah, Matt LaFleur is at 10.
Man, you guys are hitting up my list for almost made the top 10. So Stefanski and LaFleur are 2 of the 3 names that I have. I only have 1 left. Maybe we see that name pop up in the list as well. So my number 10, guys, Viking head coach Kevin O'Connell, 20-14 so far in his first 2 seasons. Of course, offensive coordinator for the Rams in 20 and 21. Only 38 years old. 13-4 in his first season. I know that they had some injuries up there with Kirk Cousins, but I'll tell you what, that offense is flying around. That defense certainly came around. If they would have stayed healthy, it would have been interesting to see what they were capable of 2 years in a row for Mr. Kevin O'Connell. I like the way he's heading. Number 10 for Mr. Kevin O'Connell, Vikings head coach. Anybody else have Kevin O'Connell on their list? Getting a whole lot of head shaking. I got my list all my own. I'm kind of like that lone guy. I think it was who was it? Only one guy before this 49ers Lions game picked the Lions. I remember seeing that right before they went on Fox. So feel like that guy right now.
I knew you were gonna go the O'Connell route. I know you're a big O'Connell guy. Actually, yeah, I was considering him. I will say I was legitimately considering him in my list at 10. I would say
very good. Very good. Okay, so maybe I'm not completely out to lunch on that. Appreciate it, man. Graham's saying I don't understand why O'Connell benched Dobbs, and Kenny's coming in. He's got his own top 10 list. He says number 10 for me is Mr. Todd Bowles, man of only one expression. That is certainly the truth. All right, let's start it back around with Albert, man. I want to kick it off with your number 9. Who do you have sitting at number 9 as we move up the list?
I have Zach Taylor. I have for the Bengals. Yeah, he pulled up some small miracles, and yeah, I think he did a pretty decent job this year.
Yeah. Joe Burrows was obviously banged up again this year. Browning comes in, does pretty dang well for him. Maybe he's a top 32 quarterback. At least he thinks so. But that being said, hey, they continued to put things along, and we all know once Joe Burrow's in there and he's healthy, this team goes, and it goes well. It goes all the way to a AFC Championship game, right, guys? So not a bad pick, Mr. Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor on anybody else's list?
Yep, at 9 for me.
There you go. Might as well talk about it right there, sitting in the same spot, number 9.
Yeah, so it took him 2 years to turn around that organization, which again, before he was there, Cincinnati, you had the Marvin Lewis era forever, and they could never get out of the first round of the playoffs, and they were just non-existent as an organization. Ownership wasn't very good and wasn't very stable there. They didn't want to win. And when Taylor got there, they flipped things around in 2 years, and now they're a consistent playoff team. And with Burrow, they're a Super Bowl team, I think, in my opinion. Just having him there is huge. So, yeah, Zach Taylor for me. And the guy Denver should have hired, by the way, back in the day.
There you go. In the building. Graham's coming in and saying what Browning did was actually outstanding. We got Kenny coming in on the same list as well, coming in with number 9, Zach Taylor. So a lot of agreement at Zach Taylor at number 9 overall head coach. Jody, did you have Zach Taylor on your list?
Yeah, he's on my list a little bit higher.
A little bit higher. All right. Little teaser for a little bit later. Who do you have at number 9, Mr. Jody Moncrief?
Touchdown Lions. Matt LaFleur, I have at 9. What he did with Jordan Love this year, I thought was pretty impressive. What he had to put up with the last few years with Aaron Rodgers and the clown show, Nathaniel Hackett as his OC, was pretty impressive as well. I think he's got himself a franchise quarterback, and Green Bay is, I think, the youngest roster in the NFL. I think they're only going to get better. So I look for, another guy that's off of the Kyle Shanahan tree.
Yep.
If you want to see something pretty crazy, go look at whatever year that was, like 2013 or 2012, the Washington Reds did this stuff, and how they didn't win it all with the amount of coaches they had on that team was pretty outstanding.
Yep. There's a big old story about maybe why they didn't win, but yeah, that coaching, whether you're talking about Sean McVay or Matt LaFleur, it was just Kyle Shanahan, just jam-packed coaching staff for the Washington Redskins. Jody went ahead and mentioned. So what's the
update? He stepped out of bounds.
You got me all excited. So we still have Lions 24, 49ers 34. First and 10 at the San Francisco 49 is what I'm showing. Does that sound about right?
Oh, they're down like at the 3-yard line about to score.
Okay, well there you go. Then my update is so slow. So knocking on the door for a possible score. We'll get to that as well. You guys, you've already knocked off my 3 names I had to the side: Stefanski, LaFleur. I might have lied to you guys. I still have one more off to the side. LaFleur was on that list as well as far as guys that almost made my list. At number 9, I have a guy that's currently coaching in a game right now, Mr. Dan Campbell, Lions head coach from 21 to 23, overall record of 24-29 during that time. So we really got to talk about what he's doing right now. 2023 NFC Coach of the Year. Of course, he's in this NFC Championship. He is 2-0 in the postseason, getting that record going pretty good. See if he can continue it.
Touchdown Lions.
There you go, man. There you go. 31-34.
Down 3. Yep.
There you go. So just down 3 now. Going to be a tight game, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging in here, watching the show, going through our top 10 list, watching that game. I know we even got a couple of hosts that are tied into the side. So touchdown Lions and Lions. Boom. I don't think Boom was talking about any of our picks, but number 9 is where I have Mr. Dan Campbell. I'm sure I might hear that name crop up once or twice again, if my guess is to be assumed right. Let's head on to number 8. Let's bring it around to Jody again. We'll just keep going back and forth around the room. Jody, who do you have at number 8? I don't know if we have a mic on if you're giving us anything.
Zach Taylor. He's been to a Super Bowl already. Went to a Super Bowl with pretty shoddy O-line. Was there when they drafted Joe Burrows. Not much to really say. What he's done in Cincinnati never was a good team for a while, and what he's done to turn that team around, pretty impressive. Where he came from, I think he was the quarterbacks coach in LA when he took that job. So I think he's done a great job there. And if Joe Burrows gets healthy, I think that's a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL, and they should be set for a while.
Yeah. I just couldn't get him on my list. Zach Taylor didn't make my list. Believe me, I love Zach Taylor. I loved what he had kind of going on there. But just one of those guys I didn't have off to the side, didn't have on my list. Let's head to number 8 for Mr. Trevor Salzman. Who do you have as the 8th best coach in the NFL?
Yeah, I have D'Amico Ryans. This is the guy that I'm really high on. I don't have him. The reason I don't have him a little higher, obviously, is because I think he needs more time. As a head coach. But 10-7 this year with Houston, just great story of how he turned that team around. I mean, I'm gonna bet he was a big part of what they did in the draft and getting Stroud and then Will Anderson, and he just turned that culture around. That team just shows like that's how quick things can turn around in the NFL. That's why I really think Bronco fans should just don't give up. Next year, there's no reason this team can't be a playoff team. The future looks a little gloomy right now. But look at what it did. Look what it was for Houston for how many different years. How gloomy it was. You turn it around in a one-off season, and boom, you're in the playoffs, and you're deep into the playoffs. So give me D'Amico Ryans for me at 8.
Very good. I'll go ahead and I'll throw this up here if anybody. No, I don't know if you'll be. Oh, there we go. Maybe Stefanski, Ryans, LaFleur. Those were my 3 guys off to the side officially, guys. So I misspoke on one, but Ryans was in there. Dutchie, who did you have at number 8?
Very unbelievable. He was an interim head coach, Antonio Pierce. What he did for the Raiders as an interim head coach, I think he turned that organization around. And I respect him for what he did. And they almost made it to the playoffs.
Did almost make it to the playoffs. Just way too early for me to already be putting them up there in the top. But yeah, as Graham's coming in here and saying, bold, Dutchie, bold. Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. Could be looking at, Dutchie being the smartest man in the room, as he's already elevated him into the top 10. Already seeing something in Antonio Pierce, and I know what you're seeing, man. I see a little bit of Dan Campbell in Antonio Pierce, right? You see that same biting the kneecaps, fight for everybody. Let's go get it. Just let's all put each other on our back, and just a a player's type of coach, man. And yeah, I can see it. Bold, Dutchy, bold, but I can see where you're coming from too, man. All right, that rounds up number 8. We're already on to number 7. Sounds right. So that being said, let's bring it back to Dutchy. Let's have him give us the number 7 for him.
Bills coach Sean McDermott. What he did during halfway the season, fire the offensive coach and change it around, try a different offense style. I think that saved the Bills for getting in the playoffs, and I think hats
Sean
off.
McDermott. Hats off to Sean McDermott, man, or at least a tip of the cap, as Albert did on screen. So, yeah, I mean, hey, he's went in there, he's fought, he's had to fight through what a lot of people said was a quarterback that wasn't ready, coming in too young, had too raw talent, was running all the time at the very beginning. He's done a fantastic job up there with not necessarily, the perfect pieces all the time. That team struggled to have good wide receivers on the field as well. Good running game just barely came around this year. Trevor, who do you have at number 7?
Yeah, I have Dan Campbell. He's the guy that I really like. I love his mindset and just how he fires up with his players. I remember watching Hard Knocks, and he's just down there doing planks and stuff with his players and push-ups, and that's just players love that type of stuff. So that's just stuff that, that's just small things that end up being bigger. And Ben John, look at his coordinators. I know in this game it doesn't really show very well for the defense side of the ball, but the 2 of his coordinators are hot, head coaching candidates, and then it goes to show that just how well he, just overall head coach he is and manager of this team. Because he's not this big bright offensive mind. That's why I don't, I think a lot of teams fall in love with that big old offensive mind guy, and it's just not. I think you didn't have a manager that knows how to put coaches around him to be successful. Dan Campbell has done that, and hey, this team has really built like a strong culture there in Detroit, and now they're getting the talent now, and now you're starting to see it here with Detroit and how they continuing to progress and along. And it's not gonna be long before this team's back in the Super Bowl. I'll say that.
I could see it, man. I could see it. Like I said, I love Dan Campbell. I see where Antonio Pierce, like Dutchy was talking about, has that same mentality. Could really end up being, a rallying cry for the Raiders for next season, and who knows, beyond. The Lions have been able to build that. Antonio Pierce might be able to build that. We continue to build our head coaching top 10 list, and we head on over to Mr. Jody Moncrief, who's first going to give us an update on the game and then going to go ahead and give us the number 7 pick that he has.
It looks like San Francisco's going to win 34-31.
There you go, guys. Well, I got to say, I know that Kenny was in here earlier. Carson, K&K Sports Show as well. Great run to your team, the Lions. I know you had a lot of us pulling for you. A lot of the K&K Sports guys pulling for you. And, I think a lot of America, quite honestly, pulling for you as well, man. So hats off to the Lions. Great season. I guess Dan Campbell falls to 2-1 in the postseason now. And that being said, Jody, who do you have as your number 7 overall quarterback? Or quarterback. number 7 overall coach. Let's not get into quarterbacks. We don't have time for both of these lists.
No, I have Dan Campbell as well.
Oh, there you go.
What he did to turn this Lions team around in 2-3 years is pretty impressive. This team hadn't been to the playoffs since like 92. Won their division this year. Got them 2 home playoff games. Got them within 3 points of the Super Bowl, but then they're only going to get better. They've been drafting well.
Yes.
The running back, their tight end, linebacker, I think the cornerback too as well. They've got probably the best O-line in football. Great things are ahead for Detroit. So yeah, no, I can't say anything bad about him. And I like just his, if you watched him on Hard Knocks, I liked his mentality, the way he spoke to players. He'd been there, done that. So I'm not going to ask you to do something that I hadn't done myself in the past.
And Every good boss.
And it resonates with players. So,
yep, every good boss. Being in that manager seat, man, I don't care, man. I'll go clean toilets. You know what I mean? If I expect you to do it, I got to be able to do it too. And Dan Campbell resonates that way, man. And gotta love the guy. Like I said, I had him number 9 on my list. I think he has every bit of trajectory that I like, though, man. This team is built well. He's just the right type of coach. Would love to have a Dan Campbell, right, man? There's nothing wrong with having a Dan Campbell. So, that being said, man, we got to move on to number. Where were we at?
6.
Number 6, guys. I got to back up because I just realized I missed my number 8. I never even talked about my number 8. I know this is the case because number 8, and I just want to bring this up, guys, just so that you're really. Maybe we should do a recap. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll hold my number 8. We're at number 6. We'll do a recap 10 through 6, and then we'll do our top 5. Okay. Number 6. Let's go ahead and go back to Jody. Jody, who do you have at number 6 as your number 6 coach? Microphone.
Mike.
Jim Harbaugh. He's coming off a NCAA national title. What he did in San Francisco, I thought was very impressive. Went to the Super Bowl with what I would say is a well below average quarterback in Colin Kaepernick. Had to deal with all his drama off of the field and was able to still win. And I think that's a huge miss for Denver last year, not being able to get him. We had to settle for our third choice. And for whatever you think of Justin Herbert, I have not been high on him, but that is the guy that, I mean, he's, for everyone thinks he's an elite top quarterback. Now he's going to have a competent coach that actually is going to punt the ball on 4th down, know when to run the ball, manage the game correctly. And the Chargers are going to be right there next year, knocking on the playoff door. And it's a bummer because that's who I really wanted last year.
Graham's been thinking you're pretty bold here too, man. He says Jim Harbaugh is bold as well. Guys, I am going to get caught up actually real quick. I'm going to take over real quick because I missed my 8 and my 7, and I'll get caught up on my 6, and then I'll let you guys go ahead. So at number 8, and I'm going to number 8, I'll just kick it off right there. I had Mr. Sean Payton. Mr. Sean Payton is 160 and 98 overall, 9 and 8 in the postseason. 2006 Coach of the Year, Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl 44, 60 years old, getting up on age, and as Jody would probably say, needs to probably maybe brush up on his coaching and maybe go a little bit younger. But hey, up until this point, man, Sean Payton has been nothing short of a fantastic coach. He was. Everyone wanted to get him on their team. He was one of the most coveted coaches, was out there, coveted a lot of draft picks in order to get him. There's reasons for all of it, man. He is a good coach. So at number 8, I had Sean Payton. At number 7.
Can I ask you a question about Sean Payton?
Sure.
If Bill Belichick was still currently a head coach, would you have him in your top 10?
No, because of the downturn that I've seen over multiple years as he headed towards 70.
So when does Sean Payton fall into that category? We're going on
if we
2
have
years of not making the playoffs, and I hope for next year, but if we roll with Stidham or some garbage quarterback, you're 3 years of not making the playoffs.
I gotta agree, man. If he goes on a similar run that Belichick did post Brady, to where you're 5-6 years down the road and you're just meandering in nothingness, doesn't matter what quarterback you're bringing in, you got to have serious doubts. And I might have serious doubts about where I have him on this list if that happens to be the case. But as of right now, number 8 is where I have him. I don't have number 2. I have number 8. So don't feel too bad. At number 7, I have Mike Tomlin. No reason I knew that I didn't have hadn't mentioned it, because Mike Tomlin hadn't been mentioned on here. 173 and 100 with 2 ties. 51 years old, 2009 Super Bowl winner, 17 consecutive winning seasons, 8-10 in the postseason, so he could certainly be a little bit better there. But man, talk about a guy that gets there time after time after time, man, always competitive. So, and then just to get caught up, and then I'll get Jody and Trevor's. My number 6 is Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, Miami head coach, 20-14 overall, 40 years old. Love this guy's path. Probably have him a little bit too high, to be honest. This is one of those guys, like I said, in the mid rounds, I had a hard time trying to figure these guys out. But only 40 years old. We talked about Matt LaFleur. Well, Mike McDaniel was another name that was sat in that Washington Redskin room, and was just a part of that amazing staff that they have there. So his comeback story maybe resonates with me, or not resonates with me, but just tugs on my heart, I guess you could say. The issues that he went through, ended up having to go through Texans, Redskins, Browns, Falcons, before 49ers, before he ended up coming back and being the Miami head coach. Long path for a young coach. I just like his upside and where he's going. Trevor, I'll head to you for number 6, and then Dutchie, and then we'll get on to their top 5, and we'll recap real quick as well.
Yeah, so I have Matt LaFleur here at 6 for me. Again, just everything he's done, I think Green Bay has been great. Again, he's part of that whole Shanahan coaching tree. He got this team through the whole Aaron Rodgers situation too. I mean, you think there's going to be another head coach that could get him through that? That's the thing. I mean, it's hard. That would be hard to argue. So he got him through the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Jordan Love looks absolutely amazing, and so they have a bright future. And Matt LaFleur, he's such a great offensive mind too. I mean, I know I say, well, you don't have to have an offensive mind as your head coach. I understand that, but when you hit on one, it's and he's proven that over time, even without Aaron Rodgers. I think it's amazing, and I can't wait to see what the Packers do going forward. That's going to be a team that is going to be forced to be reckoned with going forward. So Matt LaFleur for me here at 6.
Wow, like I said, almost made my list, but ranking pretty high for Trevor, having him at number 6. Albert, we might have to pick up the pace, but I think we'll pick up the pace as we get in the top 5 as well. But where are you at? What do you have at number 6, buddy?
Yeah, I misunderstood the assignment, because I just based all my head coaches on this year's performance only.
Oh, gotcha. I'm so sorry, Albert. Yeah, we didn't talk a whole lot behind the scenes, man. So I get it, bud. We'll take that all into context, so I understand where you're coming from, man. If you need to put any disclaimers on your pick because of that, just go ahead and roll with it. We'll be all right, man.
I just based it on this year performances and nothing else, because what happened in the past at this moment doesn't count for me. It is what happened last season and what I can see going in the future.
That's fine, bud.
And for me, I have Dan Campbell at 6 with the Lions. This is a coach, you can see where the Lions were last year and where they are now. And this is a coach that adjusts to the players. And I think that is one of the biggest importances for a head coach. You have to adapt to the players, and not the players have to adapt to you, because it's much more difficult.
Absolutely, man. Dan Campbell, like I said, all the respect in the world. Nothing to. No disclaimer needed for you having him at number 6 there, man. I think we had him all littered up and down our board, and he's completely. I know I had him at number 9, but he could be just as deserving at number 6 as well. I really feel that great about this guy. Graham's coming in, just giving us that fun fact that McDaniels was that Broncos ball boy back in the day. Absolutely. And then Michael Ronquillo doing his own little version of Nopper's knowledge, coming in here and saying if San Francisco 49ers win the Super Bowl, they will tie the Pittsburgh Steelers as Super Bowl champions with 6, if I remember right, or 8 or something like that. 8? I can't 8 if I remember correctly. So, all right, man. Let's pick it up. Let's head into the top 5. Albert, who do you have at number 5?
Kyle Shanahan at number 5. He is just a great coach. He can turn a team around very quickly. You've seen it with the Niners when he started with the Niners, and since then they have pretty much been in a playoffs team. since he came to the Niners. And yeah, respect.
Oh, so I agree with you, Dutchy. I have Kyle Shanahan as well on 6 on my list. I think he did a great job in San Francisco. Again, talking about a team that needed to turn over a head coach, and I think he'd be perfect. He was perfect for the job. Again, another guy that, for Bronco fans, he should have been here instead of VJ. So Kyle Shanahan absolutely makes a lot of sense, and I would love to see him be a Denver Bronco head coach here back in the day. I think Keith's frozen.
What about you, Jody?
My number 5 is John Harbaugh. Won Super Bowl. He's a head coach that adapts from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson, to totally different quarterback styles. Ravens are constantly in the playoffs. Adjust to his players, something I wish our head coach would do. When they mentioned moving on from him a few years ago, he was one of the guys I said, Denver, you better be all over that. I think they're in good hands, other than they're kind of stuck with Lamar Jackson too. They just paid him big, so they better figure out what to do there. That's my number 5.
Okay.
I guess I'll go to my number 4.
Okay.
My number 4 is Mike Tomlin. 17 years in the playoffs, or 17 consecutive seasons of non-losing record. Made the playoffs this year with 3 trash quarterbacks. Played Buffalo tough in Buffalo in a hostile, crappy environment. He's another coach, adjusts to his players, does what's best for them. And that organization knows how to pick head coaches. 3 head coaches in the last, since 1972 or something. So pretty impressive what they've done there, and pretty impressive 17 years in a row of not having a losing record.
You guys get all the way up to number 1?
No, we're at
4.
4. All right. I'll get caught up then real quick, guys. Sorry, man. I've been dealing with some internet issues, and I appreciate you guys keeping us on track, keeping us going, man. So I already got number 6, and then I'm on to number 5. My number 5 was, or is, now the Los Angeles Chargers head coach. It's Mr. Jim Harbaugh. Gotta like this record, man. 44-19-1 with the San Francisco 49ers. 118-46 between Stanford and Michigan. 3-time Big Ten champ, 2023 college football playoff champ, 2012 Super Bowl appearance but loss, 2011 Coach of the Year. Tough to talk. 5-3 in the postseason. He's put a resume together. I would have had him higher if he would have been doing it again in the NFL right now. If he would have had a couple more years underneath his belt. We'll see if everything that translates back to the NFL. I know that he had that San Francisco team rolling back in the day, but that's a few years removed. He's been in the college game. Hopefully he can convert that all over. Well, hopefully for him, he can convert that all over. Hopefully for us, he's terrible. But that being said, right now I have him at number 5. So number 4, where should we start off then, guys? Did we already get into number 4?
Jody went, so it'd be me and then Albert first.
Let's do it then, man. Trevor, who you got at number 4?
So I have Sean McVay at 4, and again, some people may disagree with this, may have him a little higher, but for me, again, McVay, 70-45 is his record. 5 playoff appearances, 3 NFC West championships, 2 NFC championships, and 1 Super Bowl. That team was primed for Super Bowl. I don't think McVay has overachieved with the team this year. They did overachieve, but I'm saying overachieved to win a Super Bowl. I like Sean McVay a lot. I think we're getting to this point of the list where it's hard to separate these guys. He needs a little bit more time. The rest of these guys got a little bit more time on him of consistent success. So Give me Sean McVay here at 4.
Sean McVay for Trevor at number 4. Jody, who did you have at number 4 before we go to Albert? Because I missed that. And I don't know if I have a mic on if I'm hearing you.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. Oh, they're very good, man. I felt weird putting them on my list, man. I wasn't sure how it was going to be received, so I'm glad that Jody is in somewhat agreement. Albert, again, current list of current coaches. I know that you misunderstood the assignment, but who do you have at number 4?
If I had read the assignment, Mike Tomlin would have been on my list as well. He is
very good.
I really like him as a coach. My number 4 is Mike McDaniel. He is a passionate coach. He took the Dolphins to the playoffs, and he could have really embarrassed the Broncos by setting an all-time record, and he didn't do it. I really like Mike McDaniel and what I see him as a coach, and I think he has a great future ahead of him.
Very good. I'll hit my number 4, and then we'll go right back over to Albert and bring it around the horn. My number 4 is Mr. John Harbaugh, current coach of the Baltimore Ravens. From 2008 till present, of course, a 2012 Super Bowl winner, has an overall record of 160-99. He's 12-10 in the postseason. Coach of the Year in 2019, and a guy that's, man, it doesn't matter if he has a Joe Flacco-like quarterback or a Lamar Jackson-like quarterback. It seems like he finds ways to continue to win and get his team in position. I know that he hasn't necessarily brought home all the Super Bowls that maybe were possible, but certainly a very, very good coach in my opinion. And one of those guys, as you guys have all pointed to, plays to the strength of his players, and certainly his players rally around him as well. So that's where I have at number 4. So Albert, we're at number 3 already. So number 3, What do you got?
Number 3 is my all-time. I think he is the GOAT, Andy Reid, because of the results they got this year. But otherwise, he would have been on my number 1. I think Andy Reid is the coach of all times, and the GOAT.
There you go.
He is the GOAT. He's a future Hall of Famer, and I don't think he's going to retire yet, but he could retire with 2 Super Bowl rings back to back, and that would be a really nice retirement off to the sunset.
I think there's another reason you want him to be off to the sunset. Hey, get those 2 Super Bowls and get out of here. Sounds like a great idea. Very good. Andy Reid at number 3. Who do you have at number 3, Mr. Trevor Salzman?
Yeah, I have Mike Tomlin at number 3. This is he has the most wins of all coaches still in the NFL, 173 and 100. 1 Super Bowl, 2 AFC Championships, 7 AFC North Championships, and 11 playoff berths. I mean, just speaks to his level when he has mediocre quarterback play and he can still get this team to the playoffs year in, year out. It's just, to me, I'm a big Mike Tomlin fan, and they went 10-7 this year in the playoffs, and they had no business being in the playoffs where their quarterback position's at right now. But Mike Tomlin holding the fort together. I mean, he just needs a quarterback. If he gets a quarterback, he's going to be, I think, right up there with Reid and Harbaugh and all those guys. Because I mean, just give him a Mahomes. Let him see what he can do with Mahomes. I think that team. I think he would go a long way. I think he'd be a guy that we'd see in the Super Bowl consistently because of how great of a head coach he is. Keeps his guys together. He knows how to win. He's a consistent winner. So give me Mike Tomlin at 3.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it's possible.
There's always a possibility. Number 3 for Mr. Jody Moncrief.
I have Kyle Shanahan. Going back to his 2nd Super Bowl, he probably will jump to number 2 if he wins this Super Bowl. 2 and 3 are the same for me, really, right now. But 1 is a little hotter right now. But Kyle Shanahan. I like everything about him. Able to go. He has not had any elite quarterback. What I would say, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, but he finds ways to win. They have built that an elite roster there. They have an elite run game, probably the best run game in the NFL. It's very creative. They commit to it. And that's another hire that Denver missed out on. That Can't cry over spilled milk, but damn, I'd love to have Kyle Shanahan in Denver.
Ain't that the truth? I think I think we would all agree with that, man. It just what a sad scenario for that to happen. Number 3 for me, I have Mr. Sean McVay of the Rams, 70-45 overall, 2019 Coach of the Year, youngest head coach ever at age 30, youngest to get to a Super Bowl at 33, and youngest to win at 36. Super Bowl winner in 2021, postseason record of 7-4. Nice postseason record as well. And even this last year, a team that was supposed to be completely irrelevant, he kept them competitive, kept them coming back. And for a guy I thought might have just built a team for a one-time run for the Super Bowl, came back, coached hard, and had that team very competitive and beating good teams. So Sean McVay makes my number 3. So head back around the horn. We only got a couple left, and I think it's rounding out to about the same few guys. So that being said, Jody, who do you have at number 2? With your mic on. There you go.
Sean McVay. And he just gets the nod over Kyle Shanahan just because he has won Super Bowl, been to 2 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks. Like you said, the youngest head coach at the time he was hired. Love that they've done it both ways. Said F them draft picks and went out and won a ring, and now are doing it with guys in Puka Nacua around 6, 7. That's great scouting. That's great head coaching. And something we don't do. We don't even play half of our draft picks. So props to him. And as long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy, I expect them to be
very good. Expect them to be. We dropped you for just you expect them to be competitive, I imagine, or in that run.
They expect them to be in the fold next year.
Very good, man. Head on over to number 2 with Trevor Saltzman. Who do you have there, man?
Yeah, I have John Harbaugh here, number 2 for me. He's one of the longest tenure head coaches still in the league, and he just finds ways to continue to get to the playoffs and to continue to have success. Yeah, I know today was not great, but I don't just blame him for that. I get Lamar Jackson to play as great as he did, and I think they need to continue to build that roster. They need to put more weapons around Jackson and continue to build that team up. But, I mean, you can't argue with 11 playoff appearances, 1 Super Bowl championship, 1 AFC championship, and 5 AFC North championships. I mean, an AP Coach of the Year award. I mean, this guy just, for me, he's on another level. And again, I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of the Harbaugh brothers, but he's a guy that just, consistent all the time. And it's really hard for me. I will say I had a hard time between him and Tomlin. Really did. Between 2 and 3. Can't go wrong with any of these guys I know on this list, but those 2 right there for me was the more struggle bus of which one's 2 and 3. But I think Harbaugh got the nod for me in this one.
Very good, man. Higher than I expected, man. Again, this list is surprising me, guys. I put Tomlin on this list at number 7. I figured I'd get roasted for putting him in my top 10, and then you guys are all putting him higher. Even Albert saying, "Hey, I misunderstood the assignment." Kind of like Pearl. I see the comments going through the section. She was wanting Mike Shanahan, but it was nice enough for Michael to come in and let her know that, hey, we're just doing current coaches. So. Also, Graham's just giving a call out to Jody saying, sad tidbit by Jody about us playing our draft picks. Such a disappointment. Not a disappointment as we move up the list. Albert, who do you have at number 2?
Yeah, I have D'Amico Ryans. First year head coach with a rookie quarterback, getting to the playoffs, a very winning season. That's one. I think that is one coach and QB duo that we will see many times, and we will have many hard times facing them. They did an excellent job, both of them.
D'Amico Ryans, like I said, was that one of those guys that I thought should have made almost my top 10. Knowing the assignment, I know that, like you said, that you didn't know the assignment quite where we were going, but that being said, D'Amico Ryans, what an outstanding job for a coach that had 0 expectations, came in with a 0 staff. As far as players, everyone was like, man, they're just going to sit at the bottom. Everyone's going to beat up on them. You know, just the opposite. Another one of those Antonio Pierce, Dan Campbell type of guys, young coach, team believes in him. It'll be interesting to see what happens in Houston over the next few years. Absolutely. Number 2 for me, I have Mr. Kyle Shanahan, 64-51, 44 years old, 7-3 in the postseason, doing it with a Brock Purdy, has done it with a Colin Kaepernick. You know, again, just amazing what he's able to put together as far as an offensive scheme. I know that, again, a lot of guys in that tree, whether we're talking about the Mike McDaniel or the whole nine, but again, I just feel like Kyle Shanahan has it, and he's going to continue to be competitive no matter who he has on his roster, it seems, for years and years and years. And that, for that reason, he gets my number 2. On to number 1. I'm going to start with the Dutchie on this one, man. Dutchie, why don't you hit us with your number 1 overall head coach?
Kevin Stefanski. He should have been head coach of the year. I know D'Amico Ryans got it, if I'm not mistaken, but he should have been. For me, it was Kevin Stefanski. What he did with 4 different quarterbacks, getting so far, and a complete losing organization, because when haven't the Bears not been on spot 30, 31, 32 in the last 6 years? 4 of them. So, what Stefanski is doing there, it is pretty much a miracle, and he did it with 4 different quarterbacks. And
amazing what Stefanski did. You know what I mean? Again, I kind of a one season type of situation. I want to see that play out. That's one of those things I want to see play out. And like we talked about, Albert, we had some confusion on what tonight was going to be about, but I understand where you're coming from. If you're talking about what they did in 2023, 4 quarterbacks, go out there, be competitive, have that team believing that entire time as you continue to roll through these quarterbacks, that's tough to do. That's tough to keep that locker room together, man. Stefanski did an amazing job last year. So, Trevor, who you got at number 1?
Josh McDaniels. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I had to throw a little wrinkle.
We about stopped the podcast right here, boys.
and he cannot use that one because he is no longer a head coach.
Yeah, we all. That being said, man, we almost had our first on-air firing.
Sean Payton.
Oh, What did I start?
All right.
No, Andy Reid for me, number 1. I just think that he's on top of the mountain right now. I think it helps that he has Patrick Mahomes, but I think Andy Reid's a great coach. And again, it's so hard to categorize these guys, and and you can rank them. I think many different rankings. You can have Tomlin, Harbaugh, Reid, and even Shanahan and McVay. But for me, it's Andy Reid right now. I just think that he's on fire, and I think his offenses show up when they need to. Now is the offenses that they used to be. No, possibly not. But again, they have just such a complete team around Mahomes, and they just know how to build. They know how to get it done. They come out from the clutch when they need to be. So Andy Reid for me, 2 Super Bowl championships, 3 AFC championships, and 8 AFC West championships, and 10 playoff appearances. I mean, this guy's not only done it one place, he's done it with the Eagles too. So for me, it's Andy Reid. All
right, heading on over to the judge himself. Bringing the heat tonight, getting his jabs in left and right. We'll have to bring in a heated episode where we can really get after it, Jody. But who'd you have at number 1 overall head coach in the league?
This was the easiest one for me, Andy Reid as well. What he did in Philadelphia, 4 straight AFC or NFC title games. Went to the playoffs with Alex Smith. Then made a bold move and moved up the draft to get Patrick Mahomes, what people thought was a project kind of type quarterback. Moved off Alex Smith, the quarterback that had just taken you to the playoffs. And what can we say? A quarterback that readily admits that he couldn't read a defense his first year and won an MVP with him. Multiple Super Bowls, going to his 3rd one with him. Not much you can say. that was probably the easiest one on the list for me.
Yep, it's where I started as well, Jody, man. It was an easy one to mark off. Andy Reid, Eagles head coach from 99 to 2012, Chiefs from 2013 until present, 400 wins, 258 losses, 25-16 in the postseason, 2 Super Bowls he's won, 2002 Coach of the Year, 65-year-old Andy Reid, man. He's got to be number one, man. I liked him when he was back in Philly. Didn't necessarily love him coming over to Kansas City. And even though other people were looking to give up, that's exactly what ended up happening. So, all right, guys.
I have a question. I have one head coach no one named, and he almost made my top this year. How close were you guys to putting Doug Peterson in your top 10?
I'll go ahead and I'll start off with Trevor. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, I was considering it, but again, what they did this season, I took what they did this season and what they did in previous. I think his first year in Jacksonville, that's what they needed. Actually, I wanted him to be seriously considered here for the Denver job a few years back. But yeah, I mean, what they did this year, though, the disappointment against the Tennessee Titans, not making the playoffs, I had to leave him off the list.
Doug Peterson, Albert, if you were doing your homework assignment as assigned, top 32 NFL coaches just in the league, where would you have Doug Peterson? Would you have him in the top 10?
He would miss top 10 just by one spot. I would have him at 11.
Very good, man. To answer your question, Jody, no, I can't put them all that high, man. I need to see more. I felt like what would happen in Philly was something special, and I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to give him that as well. He needs to go out there and earn a little bit more. And so for me, Doug Peterson, I didn't ever get him as the quarterback whisperer or anything like that. We'll see if it ends up being the case. We'll see what ends up happening with Doug Peterson. But no, I think he would be probably my mid-tier because we're really looking at top 10 in a 32 team or a 32 coaches league. You know what I mean? So probably mid-tier. Where did you have him, Jody?
Just on the outside, probably 11, 12, Super Bowl winning head coach. The way they collapsed this year in a weak division I just couldn't overlook that this year. But last year they won a playoff game, were competitive with the Chiefs in the second round. I think they'll figure some things out, and if he can get Trevor Lawrence right, that's a top 10 quarterback. So I expect good things there from Jacksonville.
Very good. Very good. Michael Ronquillo probably making a couple of our guys happy, saying Sean Payton doesn't deserve to be on this list because he didn't coach last year in his first year with the Broncos this year. Very good.
Sean Payton, I'll tell you why he definitely did not make the big reason for me is you had coaches like Mike Tomlin, Kevin Stefanski, who had 3-4 starting quarterbacks and were able to make the playoffs adjusted. And you have a quarterback that was the fastest to 100 wins, a winning playoff record, all this type of stuff, and you couldn't get to the playoffs with Russell Wilson, and you're watching all these other coaches adjust to, just like Kevin Stefanski. He's not running the same offense with Joe Flacco as he is DTR or Patrick Walker. It's unbelievable. Look at Kevin O'Connell. He was pulling guys off of the street. He was trading for quarterbacks, and they were winning games. And we struggled. And if you watched Russ, in my opinion, he didn't. I don't want to make this about Russ, but just that alone right there is. And I've said this, and I'll stick by this until I see something different. Sean Payton would rather lose running his offense than win adjusting and running something else or what Russ does. And I just go back to that one deep throw to Sutton against the Chargers. He was really pissed off, and he wanted everyone to know, that was not the first read. It was to go to Jerry Jeudy, and that's not sustainable football, and didn't really like that happened.
Doesn't like non-sustainable football. Coach Payton. No, I'm just kidding. I get it, man. Believe me, I knew that having him at number 8 was going to be controversial with this panel that we have right here. I think, again, I like the history. I like where he's been. I like the consistency. It kind of has a Mike Tomlin-esque type of feel, and that's why I had him 7 and 8 with Mike Tomlin being right above Sean Payton. But
then Mike McCarthy has to be close to your top 10, right? I mean, they're the same. I mean, same everything, basically the same winning percentage, basically the same amount of wins, one Super Bowl, but Mike McCarthy's going to this playoffs at least.
Yeah, he did make the playoffs this last year. Hey, you know what? It's tough, man. It's tough. We're talking about the top coaches all the way across the board, man. To be an NFL coach, to hold on to that job, to not just be an interim that's kicked out the door, Rich Bisaccia, you know what I mean? You can, hey, it's tough. It's tough to be in this league, man. It's tough to navigate around. It's tough to pick on these guys. I get the criticism, Jody. Completely get the criticism. I know where you're coming from, buddy.
Do you fault Payton for some of his hires this year? Like he didn't want to, like he was loyal to a fault. Like, what has Joe Lombardi ever done, really? I mean, he was a trash OC for the Chargers, and you could see that writing on the wall. Brought in Vance Joseph, who was never really been a good DC. I mean, just some of the guys that he pulled over from New Orleans, like some of this old school ways. Like, no one's we're gonna run my.
I think you get it on both sides. First, because for every Lombardi you have, you'll have a Westhoff. For every, I think yes, he maybe he leaned on that a little bit too much. But I think when you're coming in, you have that book, and you're saying this is how we're going to put this staff together, and you're sitting there with the GM and the owners, and they're like head nodding, and that's what we want to do, and the whole 9 yards. You follow through on that, and that's, I think, your quickest and easiest path usually towards winning. It may not be the highest quality path because you're, like you said, you're overlooking maybe other candidates and other ideas that might be out there. So I'm not going to say that Sean Payton, like I said, did everything right. I think he has a lot to get better at. You guys have pointed out time and time again that I think his play calling could get better. I think that his association with his players could get better as well. And I think he has
talking play calling. I have one last one.
Okay, last one. Then I got to get comments from somebody else and get us out of here as well.
For everyone, do you think Sean Payton would ever give up play calling for the betterment of this team?
All right, Albert, what do you think? Just a head nod. That's all he's going to give us. All right.
The Eagles head coach did. They were 1-6 or something, gave it up.
Yep, we understand.
And something like that.
All right, Trevor, do you think Albert, do you want to add now?
Nope.
All right, Trevor.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean that's the whole reason he's here, right? To fix the offense. If he's trying to do that, then I mean, what's the reason he's here? I guess that would be my thing.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4 years down the road, if he's doing well and he wants to go ahead and he wants to step back a little bit from it, I could see that happening. But at the current time, I don't think that's why you brought him in here as well. Gentlemen, fantastic show, man. We talked a lot about what was now going to be the Super Bowl. And it looks like it's going to be a Chiefs and 49ers Super Bowl. I guess the logo, Super Bowl logo conspiracy can be put to bed for a year. And that being said, we also went through a top 10 list of head coaches, some that included Sean Payton, some that didn't. But a lot of us came to the agreement that unfortunately we're up against one of the best head coaches in the league within our own division, and Mr. Andy Reid. We'll see if he ends up retiring next year or at the end of this year, since that's been a little bit in the news as well. Let's go ahead and get on out of here. We'll start off with Jody, man. We'll get your last word in, and then we'll let everyone else get a last word in.
Two pretty decent games pretty good, decent games today. Looking forward to the Super Bowl. I definitely do not want to see Kansas City win it again. Would like to see Kyle Shanahan get his first just because of the ties with his dad and everything to Denver. And then count down the days, make a decision on Russ, and then we'll know what direction we're going at quarterback. When they brought Jim Harbaugh in, I said that kind of ups the Russ might be back because you need something proven and stable. But we'll see. We're less than 2 months away, so.
Yep, 2 months away, man. A lot of decisions to be made. We're all hoping for that Russ decision. That Russ decision, I don't know if it gives us an answer. Well, it gives us one part of an answer, but there's still a lot of open-ended questions that we'll have to go through between now and the beginning of next season, I imagine even. So that being said, we'll be right here with you guys, and right here with you as well, Mr. Trevor Salzman. Trevor, say a little good night to our friends in the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast.
Yeah, so I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in to us again. Thanks for watching the game with us. We love you guys so much, and you guys are awesome, best fans ever. I love my co-hosts here. You guys are awesome as well. It's fun debating with all you guys. Honestly, we can go on for hours. And here's pretty soon we'll have that draft show, and we can go on for about 5 hours or whatever. We'll get all the demons out in that one show. I promise. But no, I just want to thank everybody for watching. And again, I know Graham said he thought I was disagreeing with the Lamar take. I just think we should hold the Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen together. I mean, if you want to talk about Lamar Jackson, kind of coming up short, I want to talk about Josh Allen. That's my only argument to that. Is Josh Allen probably should be in that argument as well. Didn't step up, make plays when he needed to. I mean, we can debate that for another show. But I love Graham and I love all of our fans. Even if we disagree, that's what the show's about, and that's what makes we can't agree on everything. So I just want to thank everybody again tonight, and go Broncos, and can't wait for the Super Bowl. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in to our show.
Absolutely, man. Love the debate. Love that we all have different opinions, not only on the show, but in the comments. Graham, we're not calling you out. We love having you here, and thanks for coming in here and sharing your opinions as always, man. Thanks to all of our good friends, including Mr. Albert Mile High Dutchy. He needs to get out of here, man. It's time for sleep for Mr. Dutchy. So, Albert, what do you got before we get out of here, sir?
Yeah, first, this is one of the reasons I got, instead of A's, I got B's, because I was not reading assignments very well. So, and thank you all for the guests who were in there tonight and the comments that they made. Michelle, Kenny, Patrick, Graham, Pearl, Kurt, Jeremy, Ernie, Michael, and Carl. Thank you for being there. And Ernie, we really, really appreciate your comment about saying that you tell us that we are better than MH8, who are our examples from the past. That means a lot to us, because we try to create a really good show, an entertaining show for you guys, and that only works with all your comments in the show. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Oh, go ahead.
And we have a special guest on the Tuesday.
Yes, we do. So, get ready for it, guys. Maybe we'll tease that out. Maybe you'll have to. Actually, we're not going to say a word right now. We're not going to say a word. You're going to have to catch all those ads. You're going to have to like, follow, share, subscribe, either Facebook, YouTube, X. Check us on Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on Spotify. But if you're following us, obviously, on Facebook, you're following us over there on X, we put an advertisement out for every single show. I'll tease you that way. I'm going to have a little special guest on Tuesday. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much for being a part of the show, being a part of the program. You guys, it's the reason we're here. It's the reason we do it. It's the reason I love coming on here, along with these three other guys that got their smiling faces on the screen as we speak. Maybe even a yawning face, because, man, it's getting a little bit late in the day. That's all right, though. Guys, appreciate you guys so much. Again, every Tuesday, every Friday, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, guys. That's where you want to be checking us all out for all your Colorado sports needs, whether it be your beloved Broncos, your Avalanche, your Nuggets, or your Rockies, Rocky Mountain Sports Network has got you covered. RockyMountainSN.com. That's the website right there, guys. RockyMountainSN.com. You want to check those out. Trevor had a great article up just not that long ago about the Broncos. We'll be getting into some draft stuff as well. Got a lot of Nugget stuff going on. Check out Rocky Mountain Sports Network. It's the parent company of Denver Bronco Roundup. Guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate again all of you guys, man, clapping it up, getting out of here, and all the love. Keith is, man, he's check this out. Graham's like producing in the background for me. Yes, I am D Roundup at RMSN. So check us out there as well. You can check that out over on the good old X. Guys, we got to get out of here. Appreciate all the love, all the support. We're going to catch you again here shortly. Remember when to catch us. Check out those ads and watch for that special guest. In the meantime, guys, keep your feet in the stirrups. Keep your guns in your holsters. Keep the Broncos in your heart. We're going to get out of here. Thank you, everyone. Good night.